Internet, hello you absolute lovelies. Let's talk all about Lanterns 2. I want to kick this off by saying I miss long form, intentionally made for cliffhanger television. I know we get plenty, but I miss it in this very specific way. This pulpy noir mystery box, like this True Grit feeling meets what Watchmen felt like with little shades of even Breaking Bad. Like, there's some Vince Gilligan. I've been reacting to this over at Real Rejects. Want to see my real-time reactions? And Greg pointed out some of the framing was like Vince Gilligan, but also I think a lot of the lighting and the New Mexico energy out in Idaho. But like the feeling of the ending of an episode having this huge cliffhanger feels like TV. It doesn't feel like a 6-hour movie cut into 6 parts, and that is so refreshing. I think half the time the comic book centric TV shows feel like they were written to be a movie and then chopped up. The other half the time they're using the format well. This is the latter. This is using the format oh so very well. You can tell this was developed by 2 veterans of TV as well as a comic writer. Chris Mundy of Ozark, Damon Lindelof of Watchmen and Lost, and of course Tom King, who writes a lot of comics. Them together have given us a very comic book feeling TV show. Now this episode was even more comic book centric than the last. Not only did it end, again, with the aforementioned cliffhanger, and I assume you know these are spoilers because it's an episode review, but spoilers for the end of the episode. SINESTRO. We had not just the, I don't think actual, but seemingly death of Hal Jordan in the first episode, causing all sorts of conversation week to week, the power of TV, the power of serialized content to have those conversations. But now with this second episode, we have fully just SINESTRO trapped in, it seems like, amongst like the Guardians original station, and he had to suit up unceremoniously, very much day at the office, to go check in. I really enjoy the fact that this show feels like a very solid cop show, comma, space cop. And it's doing such a good job, and I talked about this in the first episode, with bringing in, I think, new people to want to understand the lore while also giving us lots and lots of very comic-y things. I think this episode did an incredible job splitting the two of them up so that you get these stakes of what they're like separately. You get their different personalities. We've seen their chemistry. I think it was great to have what Kyle Chandler's Hal Jordan does completely untethered and how much of a madman he is. The recklessness of just wandering onto a compound and willing to get himself shot to find out what's going on. The willingness to get arrested in the first episode. The willingness to be in these situations and to be impulsive. I loved the scene amongst all of the town folk and him just not caring enough to be any quieter. And his flippant nature is so interesting, juxtaposing, even from a distance, John Stewart's very focused, sincere, procedural, handle things while still being human. I think Kyle Chandler is so good at acting in a way that is charm outside of his recklessness, and what Aaron Pierre is doing to be charming with stoicism while still emoting is so impressive. They both got a lot of different things going on, and I was wondering how that would feel when they separated. I thought it would be later in the season, but here in this next episode, the second episode, they separate for most of the episode, and that causes this great tension even amongst themselves. There's tension when they're together, because that's like, you know, the buddy cop situation, but when they're apart, the distrust was really interesting. We meet a whole alien subsect of people that kidnap John Stewart who don't trust Hal Jordan, who very intentionally pick him over the other Lantern, and then you get the distrust of finding out that that is a very complicated thing to do with the ring. That bird that is with us in perpetuity in the episode, I was thinking how insane that must be, especially without a ring, to keep your will that strong. So he's doing incredible work training to be a Lantern, but it seems that Hal's keeping him at bay very intentionally, saying he's not doing the best job, or at least alluding to the fact that he's not there yet, he's not ready. I really love that, especially with the end, with Sinestro saying the second biggest threat you have next to, how is John Stewart? All of those things causing friction between the two, but also John Stewart does tell him everything that happened with the aliens. There is a level of trust there. We also see the conversation between him and Macon. Macon talking about what it is to feel valued and not valued, what it is to trust or not trust, the fact that he's even asking if he should trust Hal Jordan, saying and implying he doesn't. I love that relationship forming, as well as Kyle Chandler's Hal Jordan's relationship with the cop and all of those things. Garrett Delahunt is killing it every time he's on screen as that mysterious cowpoke with the incredible alien technology. I'm really curious how that might tie into what we get with whatever tie-in this is going to be setting up the greater universe, right? In Peacemaker, we see all those doors into worlds and how the alien technology was given to Robert Patrick. It wasn't something that he invented. It was something that was given to him. I don't think it's a coincidence we've got more things like that here. And speaking of interdimensional stuff, I loved the Lantern being in a pocket universe, how cosmic and the scope of that. I loved the casualness, like I said earlier, of what Hal Jordan does to put on the suit and just float away. I love that we get, because this is over the course of 30 years, 96 to 2026, the evolution of people accepting metahumans in this world. But in 2016, it is not that accepted, and people adjusting to what this all is and what that looks like. And what's really interesting as a comic fan, and what I don't know which way they'll go with it, but those aliens, when they kidnap John Stewart, they're talking about manhunters. Now, 9 times out of 10, especially when you're talking about DC, when you hear Manhunter, you think Martian Manhunter, you think John Johns, you think of, a Martian that loves Oreos, Chocos, and is afraid of fire. I don't know if they're going that way, and I assume that's what most people will assume they're doing, because there's also Manhunters, which are androids, which is how they describe them in the show, in this episode, that predate the Lantern Corps. They were kind of the space cops that the Guardians developed leading up to the Corps that turn evil. That sounds a lot like the way things are going, but with the name being so similar and with the popularity of Martian Manhunter, will that be something that they use both? Will we also get Martian Manhunter spinning out of this? Will something happen where we allow the pop culture of Martian Manhunter to coexist with these 70s very specific niche characters, the Manhunters that were androids? So very curious which way they go. They might even predate the 70s. But I love that we have that mystery unfolding. I love that this mystery box of what happened here keeps getting deeper. Abensor, giving Hal the ring 10 miles away, what that means for the alien population here, what that means for the one alien, who that one person is in the town. Do we think it's the cop? Do we think it's Garrett Dillahunt? Do we think it's Macon? Who is it? And I love that that mystery is on top of all the other mysteries. And I still maintain, I don't think that Hal Jordan dies. I think that's a mislead. I think someone can act as a body, but we will see. We will see how that comes out. Very impressed with Aaron Pierre's acting. Very impressed with Kyle Chandler's acting. Really excited to see what John Stewart does in the greater DCU, especially this episode. Something about the action. And I think that, man, that sequence on the highway, that door open explosion, all the practical blending with visual effects while the bird is popping around, the seamlessness of adding a visual effect while the practical stunts are happening, and how that is such a grounded stunt, but the intensity and the stakes of that stunt are incredible. I was so impressed with that. That was like a highlight of the episode for me, but it made me realize how excited I am to see John Stewart as he evolves into a Lantern, as he gets more and more suited up. His just charm while being stoic but still being human. It's a very hard performance to be a Superman, a Captain America, a John Stewart, a person that is like a Boy Scout or someone that follows orders and is calm and under control while still being charming, while still having personality. And I think he's absolutely nailing that while juxtaposing Kyle Chandler's reckless abandon as Hal Jordan, fighter pilot, turned 30 years of being sick of being a hero, and why he doesn't wear the suit. We will find out, I think, sooner than later. But yeah, Sinestro is here, man. There's so much going on, so much mystery, so much excitement, such good TV that leaves you wanting more. I'm so glad this is serialized. I'm so glad it's week to week. I'm so glad it feels like quality TV that has characters I love from the comics. Cake and eat it too. Having a good time with it. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Did you dig Lanterns episode 2? What do you think of the series so far? Let me know down in those comments. Also press a like. It helps the algorithm for this video. Subscribe if you haven't already. I read 50-ish comics a week, and I break down my favorites every week on a live stream on weekends on this very channel. Also cover lots of movies and TV, so lots of pop culture, especially comic stuff right here on this page. But yeah, hit the buttons, subscribe, like, comment. I appreciate you. We'll see you next week for more Lanterns. We'll see you sooner for other stuff. Bye.